Hello and welcome to the Daily Forex Report. Let me show you what we're looking at during this next session. Have one of my favorite setups. We have 3 up days in a row, higher lows and higher highs in a downward move. Great reversal play that we're looking for. Now, that's on the day time frame. We're going to go ahead and drop down to the 15-minute time frame, back out a little way so we can get perspective on this. Looking for a short right off of these lows to the downside. Looking for it to come down to this trend line, essentially looking for a drop below the 158.84 mark, looking for it to come down about 35 pips down to 158.50 during this next session. So we have a sell, and we're looking for it to come on down to this point, and at that point we would exit. Now, as far as risk to reward goes on this one, depending on when it hits, you could put a 25 pip stop loss, which is right up here above the previous area of resistance, and then look for it to drop down about 35 pips. As time goes on, that amount gets a little bit less, but nonetheless still better than 1-to-1. So that's what I'm looking for. Make sure to check out the pound over this next session. We've pulled back 3 days in a row and in a downward trend, so just keep an eye on it. Now, as far as news announcements go, we do have some significant news announcements being released tomorrow. We have the Bank of Japan releasing their rate decision. No time given, no consensus. Previous was 0.10%. Then the German producer's price for October is being released at 2 a.m. Eastern. Of course, that will affect the euro. Previous was 1.7%. Looks like that has a potential to drop down to 1.6%. Then at 11 a.m. Eastern, we have the Euro Area Finance Ministry meets on Greece debt. Of course, that will affect the euro. Not sure if they're going to come to any resolutions, but definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, as far as ranges for the day, what we're looking for during this next session, let me zoom in and get to the day time frame, and we can take a look at these pairs. The U.S.-Japanese yen pair did gap at the open. Filled that gap, closed a little bit higher. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 81.81, possibly down to 80.81. Look for some resistance around 81.57 and look for some support around 81.00. Now, the Euro-USD pair closed higher during this last session. Overall, tracking to the upside on the daily time frame. Looks like it's starting to pull back a little bit during this new session, possibly going as high as 128.70, possibly down to 126.88. Look for some resistance around 128.75 and look for some support around 127.00. Now, looking at the pound US dollar pair, this pair closed higher 3 days in a row. We already talked about that. It could go as high as 159.69, possibly as low as 158.37. Look for some resistance around 159.25 and look for some support to the downside around 158.50. Now, the US Swiss, this pair surged to the downside, ran into an area of support before closing. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 0.9493 on a reversal, possibly as low as 0.9357. Look for some resistance to the upside around 0.9464 and look for some support around 0.9395. Well, that pretty much wraps us up for today. Until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.